Hey everyone, welcome back to another All Things Nerd video. As always, my name is Nathan. And what happens when you take all your fears you ever knew as a child and you turn it into a movie? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a movie called Skinamarink. Let's take a look.
In this house.
So a couple days ago, I had watched Skinamarink for the very first time, and I have a lot of mixed feelings about the movie. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the movie. I thought it was great, it was brilliant. I've never seen anything like it before. Analog horror is very new to me. I've been exploring a lot of analog horror lately, especially like watching the Backrooms videos. I know those have been blowing up lately, and you're gonna like this movie. Now, I will tell you, this movie is a very slow burn movie. Don't go into this movie thinking it's just gonna be action packed, there's gonna be jump scares all over the place. It takes a long time to develop the movie, and it's a long process.
In this house. In this house. In this house.
Now, if you haven't heard about this movie came out last year. It's a Canadian horror film. It's technically analog horror, it's what they call it. And the movie was actually set on a $15,000 budget. So you can see it wasn't a huge production, right? $15,000 to film a movie is very small. The movie was actually made and directed by Kyle Edward Ball. He is a newer guy on cinematography. He has a YouTube channel where he does like horror shorts. The movie is actually based off a horror short he did a while back called Heck. If you haven't seen it, I'll put it in the description below. It was really good. Go check it out. The runtime for this movie is about 100 minutes. It's not super long. It's about an hour and something. It is set in English, and in the box office, it actually made around $2.1 million. So imagine $15,000 budget made $2.1 million. Now, the movie did come out last year, but it came out in theaters this year of January 13th of 2023. It had a theatrical run, and it did really well, as you could see. So $15,000 budget to $2.1 million. Now, if you've never heard of this movie, the movie's about essentially two children, Kaylee and Kevin, who are trapped in their family home. Now, the movie's it's shot and take place at a Canadian home up in Canada, but the movie is set in 1995. Okay, so this is before a lot of big technology came out. You can't go into, like I said, you can't go into this movie thinking that you're going to have a lot of big jump scares. There's going to be a lot of action. The story takes a while to develop, and you kind of got to stick with it. At first, you may seem bored, and that's just because you got to get used to the analog horror style of the filming. But yeah, the movie takes place in a house with two kids, Kaylee and Kevin, and essentially what happens is they're just living their normal kid life, and all of a sudden, some spoilers, Kevin, the boy, he falls downstairs, and this is where the movie for me takes a weird turn, because I have some ideas and theories that I want to throw out there, but we can talk about that in a little bit. Now, as Kevin, he falls on the stairs, his dad basically takes him to the hospital, and he says that he's okay. You know, they didn't have to do anything major to him. He just had some scars or whatever, and he's fine. But as they're living in their home, some weird stuff start happening. Essentially, in their home, the doors and windows and things start disappearing in the home, to a point where there's this evil spiritual entity that is haunting their home, and some weird things start to happen. The best way I can describe this movie, you can't go into it with an easy heart especially for kids, because the whole movie revolves around these two kids, and some horrible things happen to them. Now, most of the stuff that does happen to them is off camera, so you don't get to see anything, but you get to hear, and it's very evil. But the best way I can describe this movie is, you remember when you were a kid and you lost your dad or your mom when you were when you were shopping with them in the grocery store, you were at Target or Toys R Us or whatever, right? And you lost them for a few minutes, and that sense of like losing them is like the worst possible fear as a child, that you're, oh, my mom's left me, I'm never gonna find her again, right? But then you end up finding her in like the next 5-10 minutes. You know, a worker in the place helps you, and they, over the, you know, the speaker, they go, you know, you have a lost child in aisle 9, you know, and your mom then comes and gets you, right? The best way I can describe this movie is, imagine that feeling, but you never find your mom, you never find your dad, and that's terrifying, right? And it's really sad to watch these kids in this movie, because you're rooting for them the whole time, but you know it's never going to end well for them, right? And there's something special. There's something special about a kid's heart, especially because as a kid, you find comfort in little things like TV, being under the covers, right? Like when you were young and you were scared, you were afraid because you thought the boogeyman was going to get you, right? But then you would hide under the covers and you felt safe, right? Like hugging your mom or dad, you felt safe in their arms, you know. And it was just small things that these kids find comfort in. That's just, it's heartwarming, right? But you know that it's not actually going to protect them. Like in the movie, for instance, as these things are happening, they actually want to sleep out in the living room, but they stick together and they find warmth in being with each other, the brother and the sister. And one of the things that they found really, what do I say? Like they found very safety in, is having the TV on with cartoons, right? Like just little things like that, right? And just having the light of the TV, and you could see they're playing with Legos in front of the TV, and they're drawing and they're coloring, and you feel for these kids because you know what it was like growing up. But as the movie goes on, it gets more darker and darker and darker, and the movie is just weird, right? The film direction's weird, the way that it's shot is weird. A lot of times you'll just be staring at walls and empty hallways and dark picture, and you're like, I want to see what's going on, but that's part of the filming experience, right? That's the analog horror. Now I will tell you, the movie has like a film grain effect over it, so it doesn't have like this really bright picture to it. It's very dark. A lot of the scenes are actually just lit with like the light of the TV, so you can see how dark this movie is. But go into it expecting go into the movie not expecting like a big budget horror movie, right? Just go into it freely thinking, and it was a great experience. I loved the movie. It was fun. It is sad at times, so yeah. But anyways, yeah guys, I just want to give my thoughts. If you haven't checked out Skinamarink, go check it out. It's weird. I think you can rent it for like $5 off of Amazon. I watched it the other day, and yeah, it was a good movie. So let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie. I'm gonna make another video after this and talk about some theories and stuff that I think happened in the movie. All right, take care.
In this house.